Hi guys, hope you're fantastic today. I have a Facebook community. I'll put the link in the description here after the video's over. And people within the community have a chance to ask questions. And so earlier this week, I had somebody came in and asked a question. What I'm going to do for you is read the question, give you a little bit of background on why this question was asked, and then talk through the question for you because look, if one person's struggling with this, I guarantee you there are millions of people struggling with the same thing. Um, and there's some language that we use within my group and community, but I'll try to just extract that language, make it much more broad so that others without that background can understand kind of what's happening and talk this through so that it's beneficial for you. So this is going to be for you if you've been struggling with an old pattern. You're aware of the pattern, but you just can't seem to come out of it or break it. So without further ado, I'm going to read the question that came into the community. How do you come up with an appropriate, more serving story if your subconscious isn't believing any story you're telling it? So first of all, the subconscious is believing the story that it knows that it's familiar with. It's a pattern that it's adopted and that we actually start to live through. So within this question, there's some baseline understanding. One of the things that this person understands is that we can condition our unconscious, and in fact, our unconscious is conditioned. It's conditioned usually from a very early age, and most of us are just living out those patterns of that conditioning. So we're just actually living out the conditioned patterns. We're not actually living our lives. We're just executing old patterns. Okay, so sometimes we become aware of these patterns. So the first thing that I want to say is self-awareness is a skill. Becoming aware of ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, our patterns, the beliefs that we carry, the unconscious self-concepts that we carry about ourselves, which if there's a negative pattern or a negative feeling will resolve in some sort of I am not statement. I'll go more into this in a second. Then those patterns will kind of be driving the ship. So where does this start? And what does this person mean by a story? So let's just say any affirmation, anything that we say becomes an affirmation. So I'm easily earning $10,000 a month. That would be an example of an affirmation. I am in a beautiful, healthy relationship. Well, the precursor to that is not having that money. Like you wouldn't be saying that if you had the money. You wouldn't be saying that if you were in a beautiful relationship, right? So the undercurrent there is this situation in life where we don't have those things. And we don't have those things because of a pattern that's been playing out that whereby the surface level ramification is not having those things. Okay, so let's start with a story that I was aware of in my life. So a lot of people run around in this world with money stories. So how did my money story come up in my life? There's four ways actually, that we know that we have a story present. The things that we tell ourselves, the things that we believe, and our self-concepts. So that would be wrapped up in one. Our feelings, you can't see me pointing to my heart. Well, you kind of can. But our feelings, and then the last one, there's technically two more, but one of them would be the actions or lack of action that we're taking in alignment with what we want for our lives. And another one is like the physical symptoms that we have, whether that's headache, stomach ache, diarrhea, back pain, knee aches, like all of these certain things can fall under these constraints, these patterns. They're representative or evidence that support the pattern. Okay, so starting superficially, I had a pattern, I had a thought that was like, making money's hard, business is hard, earning $10,000 a month is hard. I had physical sensations. So if I thought about looking at my bank statement, I would feel anxiety. So I wouldn't want to feel the anxiety. So I wouldn't want to look at my bank statements as an example. Or I'd go out for dinner with my wife, and when it came time to pay the bill, I would feel again that like horrible crippling anxiety. I would order the cheapest thing on the menu, not the thing that I actually wanted. So those are all symptoms of a pattern, of an old pattern. I didn't want to do my taxes. So that's what I'm consciously aware of. Okay? That's not, if I'm aware of it, it's not unconscious. I've become aware of it. So if I'm working at that level, well, I'm not working with what might be under that level. So you imagine a plant. I always like to use plants. I have a plant. And the things that we see here, well, that's what we're aware of. That's what we can see. So in the example, me being aware of the story that is, or the physical sensations and the thoughts around money, that's what I can see. But these have roots. So underneath the soil, I can't see them, but there's roots there. Well, it's the same with most stories that we have about ourselves. So when we try to work at that level and we're doing, watch my fingers, positive affirmations, we're trying to tell a different story that's aligned with what we want. Like, for example, making money is easy. Making $10,000 a month is easy. Like doing my taxes is easy. Those are all examples of a new story that are different from the story that I've been telling. But this is just the surface layer. This is just what we're consciously aware of. So we have to go deeper. And there's different ways to do that. I always say that our thoughts and feelings play together. So if I have thoughts around money and I know that when I see a bill that I get anxiety, well, I can start to explore my thoughts to bring about that feeling even more. For example, well, why would I need money? Well, I need money to pay bills. Well, what happens if I can't pay my bill? Well, I might get evicted. I might end up on the street. Okay, well, is that really an issue here? Like, that's never happened to me before. So that's probably not quite sure. Now, if you've been in that position before, then you might be hella afraid of that. But most of us haven't. So we actually want to go inward. Like, what does it mean about me? Well, I want money to be successful. So every time I'm spending money, it's like going against this idea of success. Well, why do I need to be successful? So we become curious about ourselves, about our beliefs. Well, I need to be successful because I need success to feel like I'm enough or I'm okay. Oh, what's the implication? Well, the implication there is that I'm not okay, that I'm not enough. And so at its heart, that is what was the end of the route for me when it came to my money stuff. I was looking in the world for money because deep down within me, I felt like I wasn't okay. So I was always looking to money to make me feel okay. The anxiety that I felt like a hole in my chest. I'm looking to fill that hole with money. Okay? So that's why positive affirmations don't work. We're just dealing typically with the surface layer. When we really do this work and we look at the root of our issues, again, like I said earlier, they'll typically resolve into some sort of I am not statement. I'm not enough, I'm not okay, I'm not safe, I'm not, so on and so forth. Well, we have to look at that. So in this space right now, look, I've got my ass on my chair, I'm in my office. Like right now, this second, if I remove my thoughts of my future and my history, am I okay? That if you're doing this for yourself, like you really have to feel into this deeply and you can't rush it. But in the absence of my thoughts about my future and my past, I am okay. And so when we work at the root, we actually dissolve the story. Well, if I'm okay, I don't need more money to be okay. So in the absence of that constraint, there's space, there's freedom, and there's possibility. And now we're free to imagine anything. But we're not reliant on it. We don't need it because the thing that we were looking for, we have now. And we didn't have to go externally to ourselves. Okay? So this is why positive affirmations don't work. You can't override an unconscious narrative that you carry for yourself. You have to see the extent and the root of the unconscious story that you tell yourself. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will drive your life and you will call it fate. This is why. So the first step isn't to step into positive affirmation town, because you're just going to waste your time and energy. You have to get to know yourself on an incredibly deep, intimate level. You have to develop this skill, and it's a skill, the skill of self-awareness. First, we become aware of our thoughts, our thoughts, our beliefs, our negative self-concepts. We become aware of our feelings in our heart, our throat, and our stomach. Now, so far, all I've talked about is working at the thought level, but we can work at the feeling level as well. Most of us are so busy pushing away what we don't want to feel that we don't give it the room to be. And at the level of feeling, that's the game, is to express gratitude for all of the feelings of joy and also the feelings of sorrow. I will say that's easier said than done, but ultimately it's a practice that will set you free. And not all at once, but over time. Okay? So, positive affirmations. Stop wasting your time. Start to understand yourself. Get to know yourself deeply, because underneath the thoughts and the feelings, that's you. The space behind it all. The awareness of it all. That's the truth of you. So when you're there, nothing needs to be added to you. Now you get to explore yourself in the world for the sake of self-expression. The very same way that this grows and self-expresses. Its self-expression is in its growth. It's the same for you, but you're not a plant form, you're a person form. So your growth and self-expression are akin to, or look like human growth and expression, specifically your growth and expression. So this is why I say follow your joy. Don't follow that little voice in your head telling you to be small. Follow your joy, your expansion, and watch your life change. I hope that was helpful for at least one person. I'm going to go to the gym now because that's part of me expressing myself. I hope you'll have a beautiful day. And I'll put a couple links in the comments. I'll put a link to my Unstuck group. My Unstuck thing. Look, if you feel stuck, so stuck can show up all sorts of ways: anxiety, fear, overwhelm, overthinking, worry, judgment, so on and so forth. Then I'll give you this five-step framework to help you get unstuck. So I'll link that in the comment in the description, and I'll also link directly an invitation to this Facebook group where you get to ask these questions and we can chat through them. So bye.